Hey everyone, welcome to Quick Break Games, and in this video we're going to be ranking the 5 levels within LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga's Revenge of the Sith. So this is going to be from worst to best, so 5 down to 1. So let's go ahead and get started with number 5. Okay, so at number 5 we have Senate Showdown, which is the 4th level of this movie. This level is based during Yoda's final confrontation with Sheev Palpatine towards the end of the film. The level starts off where you're dueling Palpatine in his sort of office room, I guess you could call it. You also have several royal guards that come and attack you throughout the fight, and there are periodic moments where you gotta deflect Palpatine's Force Lightning back at him. Now, after a quick time event, the level transitions to the massive galactic Senate chamber where the fight continues. Here the fight has several pauses where you'll either be hacking panels as Captain Typho or fighting off some clone trooper goons he singed after you. And once you take out Palpatine's health, that's pretty much it for the level. So the episode 3 levels in this game are pretty much all boss fights, and I don't think this level is necessarily bad, I just found it to be the weakest of the bunch of boss fights. It's a fairly short level, and I think they could have done a lot more to flesh it out. So for example, why couldn't the Mace Windu versus Palpatine fight be part of this level as well? I sort of envision this level could start with the Windu fight, and then once that's over have a cutscene which then transitions to this fight. Making both Palpatine fights playable would have gone a long way, especially since both of these were absent in the original games. And one weird thing about this level is how Captain Typho is your co-op partner. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but he wasn't even remotely in this scene during the movie. It just seems like a random character to include in the level. I know no one else was really there besides Yoda in the movie, but I think even someone like Bail Organa would have made more sense as your co-op partner. At least he appears near this scene in the movie afterwards. But anyway, overall it's not a bad level, just my least favorite boss fight from episode 3, which is why Senate Showdown comes in at number 5. Alright, so at number 4 we have Droid Attack on the Wookiees. So this one's based in Kashyyyk when Order 66 is executed and all the clones turn against the Wookiees. Here we primarily play as Yoda and Chewbacca as they fight their way through the clone forces to escape. This is essentially a remake of the Defense of Kashyyyk level from the original games, and I must say this version is way better. So this level is kind of unique in episode 3 because it's the only level that's not a boss fight. You start off fighting enemies in Kashyyyk's massive trees, and then you go across a zipline where you continue on ground level. There's a cool multi-build where you can decide between 2 options on how to progress, but shortly after that, you reach your ship and complete the level. Now, I really don't have too many problems with this level. It's really just ranked at number 4 because I find the other 3 boss fight levels more fun, but that doesn't really make this one bad necessarily. The original Defense of Kashyyyk version of this level had that terrible beach section with the infinitely respawning enemies. Luckily, this is nowhere to be found in this version. The original also had that beginning section where you have to rescue several Wookiees. I would have preferred if they had something like that in this version. You know, have you go around to different areas rescuing Wookiees, but unfortunately that's not here. So without something like that, this level goes by pretty quick, but I guess that can be said about a lot of levels in this game. So overall, I enjoy this level a lot. It's the 3rd level in Revenge of the Sith, so I think it works well as a breather between all the boss fight levels. And of course, you gotta give this level some points just for the meme of a name, which is why Droid Attack on the Wookiees comes in at number 4. So at number 3 we have So Uncivilized. Of course, this is the General Grievous boss fight level, a remake of the level simply called General Grievous in the original games. This one has you playing as Obi-Wan Kenobi and Commander Cody as you duel General Grievous. The boss fight gets broken up several times throughout the level where Grievous retreats. When this happens, you typically have to fight off some droids, including Magna Guards, or General Grievous's bodyguards, and you also need to use Commander Cody's hero abilities to progress. Usually in these boss fight levels, the character with the lightsaber is doing almost all the work, but I like how Commander Cody actually has a decent amount to do here. When Grievous retreats, you sometimes have to use his grapple hook to bring down a ladder, or shoot a target to unlock the next area or whatever. There's some good gameplay here for co-op players. And the lightsaber duel with Grievous is also pretty good. There's multiple phases in this fight, and I love how each phase ends with you taking out one of Grievous's lightsabers. It's a nice touch. My main criticism with So Uncivilized is how they didn't incorporate any sort of chase sequence. Why wasn't there a section where we can play as Obi-Wan riding Boga as we chase down Grievous on that? It could have been during the halfway point of the level that then transitions you into the area where the original 2005 version of this level took place. And what makes this even more frustrating is a chase like this was even planned for those original games way back in like 2004, 2005, but for some reason the developers decided to once again not include it. What a missed opportunity. But fortunately, what they did do here is really good. There's even a lot of extra areas along the edges of the arena where you can find mini kits and stuff. It's a lot of good content here. But for all these reasons, that is why So Uncivilized comes in at number 3. Alright, so at number 2 we have The High Ground. This is a level a lot of people, including myself, were really looking forward to playing in this game. It's a remake of the level called Darth Vader in the original games, and once again this version I think is mostly an improvement. So you start off fighting Anakin in the ship landing zone on Mustafar. You then need to move through the walkway into that control room of some sort. Eventually you end up outside where you're fighting around the lava where you can finally get the high ground and defeat Anakin. Now one thing I love about this level is how accurate it is to the movie. Every area where they fight in the movie is almost perfectly represented and playable here. So much more than the original games. Even the iconic dialogue is recreated as well.
Padme, you turned her against me! You have done that yourself!
You also no longer have that annoying section from the old games where you're running towards the camera avoiding the lava at the very beginning. Thank goodness that's gone. Now the main issue I have with this level that prevents it from getting the number 1 spot are the droid sections. This level absolutely sucks if you're playing co-op and are player 2. The co-op partner is stuck playing as R2-D2 or C-3PO, and you're basically stuck standing around for about 80% of the level. Even when playing solo, these sections still suck because they completely break up the fight. You'll be having an intense fight with Anakin and then it stops and makes you step on some switches as C-3PO or go back and hack some panels as R2. Now whenever this happens, it's just like, now is not the time for this. I think they could solve this issue by making it like the original game where player 2 is Anakin. That was a really unique feature about the first game where you're fighting your own co-op partner, and they really should have brought that back here. I think it would have really added a lot of character to this level. But instead, player 2 is stuck as playing as the droids. But other than that though, this is a really fun level, especially for player 1. Lots of lightsaber dueling, avoiding lava, stuff like that, just like the movie. It's a solid level, making The High Ground land the number 2 spot. Okay, so at number 1 we have Out for the Count. This is the first level of Revenge of the Sith, and this is my favorite level of Revenge of the Sith, and probably in my top 3 of this entire game. Out for the Count is based during the beginning of Episode 3, where Obi-Wan and Anakin are rescuing Palpatine from Count Dooku on the Invisible Hand ship. You start off by traversing many hallways of the ship, fighting off droids and whatnot, and then you eventually reach Dooku where you have your boss fight. What I like about this level is the open-ended nature of it during the first half. You have all these hallways and corridors to go down to reach your destination. There's not just one way to go. And when you're playing this level a second time in free play, you have even more options or more paths to take. And many of these paths have secret minikits and are required for level challenges, so they aren't just useless empty space either. There's just not too many levels like this in the game. This level also has a wide variety of enemies to fight. You've got your standard battle droids, you got your droidicas, you got your super battle droids, and of course you have a boss fight with Count Dooku towards the end. This level has it all. Now speaking of your fight with Dooku, once you reach him, that fight doesn't disappoint either. You know, I was playing it again for this video and it's actually fairly lengthy. You have a lightsaber fight with Dooku a bit, and then they space out the fight by having you take on some of his droids periodically, which pretty much happens in the movie as well. Now of course, if I had to criticize this level, I really think they should have included a vehicle section at the beginning for the Battle of Coruscant, leading up to landing on the Invisible Hand. It's really a shame that was included in the original games and it's completely absent here. I think they also could have added a section after the Dooku boss fight where you actually lead Palpatine over to the command tower to land the ship, but I don't think that's as big of a deal as the actual Battle of Coruscant being absent. Overall though, this is just a solid level. In fact, I think if game demos were still a thing, this would be the level I would choose to make as the demo for LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. It shows off the combat with standard enemies. It shows off some of the force powers and puzzles in the game by having used the force to get around the force fields around the level, and of course gives you a demonstration of the game's lightsaber combat with that Count Dooku fight at the end. This is simply all around a great level, which is why Out for the Count comes in at number 1. So alright guys, that's going to do it for my ranking of Revenge of the Sith within LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. Let me know in the comments what your ranking would be. Do you agree with my list or disagree? Let me know. Like this video if you enjoyed it, dislike it if not, subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you guys next time here on Quick Break Games.